So this is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which I've covered many times on this channel before, but in this episode, I want to talk to you about some of the reasons why I stopped using my iPhone 16 Pro Max. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Now, I picked up the iPhone 16 Pro Max around 9 months ago, and I paid a pretty hefty penny for this one. I think it was somewhere around $1,350, somewhere around that price tag. So definitely up there. It didn't come with much in the box besides some warranty guides, not even a SIM card tool because we use eSIM now, and a braided USB-C to USB-C. So this has allowed Apple to get more of these boxes on a shipping container and get a lot more across seas when shipping. So it helps actually get your phone to you faster, but some people will argue that's not a great decision because they want chargers in the box, but this one doesn't come with one. Let me get this out of the way as well. This phone has been overall a fantastic piece. It is definitely very premium. It has a camera control button, a very nice clean look with the desert titanium. Some would argue this is the best phone on the planet. I don't know if I agree with that, but we do have ourselves a very high quality triple camera. Of course, you get the Apple branding on here, which is a big reason a lot of people still use it. The ecosystem is strong. iOS 26 beta is on here, and that's not the reason why I stopped using it, but I just want to get these positives out of the way first. Great screen, very thin bezel, but starting with the very first reason that I stopped using this one was how great the iPhone 16 Pro, its little brother, has been. Let me explain. So I've been doing a lot of dad tasks lately, and this one I've actually been dropping a little bit more. I'm kind of moving a little bit faster these days, but the reach from side to side is just kind of difficult with this size right here, and we've known that for a long time. It's been a two-handed phone. But one thing I really liked about the 16 Pro is that it's retaining pretty much everything that phone has, but doing it in a way that's much more of a sweet spot to me. 6.3, so we're up from 6.1, so the display doesn't feel small. And again, like I've mentioned before, because of the aspect ratio on here and the reduction in bezels, this actually feels closer to the older 6.5-inch iPhones in size, while giving you that 6.1-inch comfortable feeling. So I get to keep my same camera from the iPhone 16 Pro Max and rock out. Also, surprisingly, the battery life is not horrible by comparison. Yes, the iPhone 16 Pro Max can last about an hour and 45 minutes longer in my testing, maybe closer to 2 if you do some battery saving techniques. But this one is still strong. It's a full day with a full charge in the morning. You're not going to be worried whatsoever about missing out on that. And it's held up very good. So I enjoy the size, having the same performance, the same camera. In addition to that, having a really long lasting battery life, even though it's a 6.3. Now, this is no 2-day phone. I got to charge this every day, but I'm not worried about it throughout the day. I'm almost never too low where I'm concerned with the battery life on this one. So the 16 Pro is the very first reason. The next reason is no ability to split screen like we find on some Samsung phones. So we have the app pairs here on Samsung devices, and having 2 apps at a time, some people say, is just not that useful, Nick. You've been talking about this for so long. I don't care. Well, I care, and it's my channel, so I'm going to go ahead and say how I feel. If you agree or disagree, that's really up to you. I don't control that, but what I do control is my phone. And if I can't control an application like this, is an app here I have because sometimes I'm doing a calculation. I don't want to go back and do a different calculation. So I'll have 2 calculators. I know it could be a little over complex, but let's say you got your bank app here and you want to calculate some of your budget or something. This is useful. It really is. Also, if I want to have like a video on one side and I want to have the calendar on the other side, or Safari, well, it's not going to be Safari because you can't do it there. You can't do it. This is also showcasing another great feature on Samsung phones, the landscape mode right there. A lot of other Android devices have this as well. But no split screen has been really irritating me, especially on the larger iPhone. I understand totally when I'm using a smaller iPhone, the single app tasking. It makes a lot of sense because we're just here one app at a time. It's a smaller screen. It feels very focused. But on this phone, I'm like, this phone is huge. I want to have the ability to do more with this screen. So it really bugs me with that one right there. The third one is this phone is not, again, it's not a super heavy phone. Like, you don't got to hit the gym to go ahead and rock the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It's still a portable device. But when we compare it to this right here, the Galaxy S25 Edge, this thing is a lightweight feather in the pocket while providing nearly the same size screen. It's 6.7, this is 6.9, but it's pretty close. It's almost indistinguishable. And I have a phone that is incredibly thin. I barely even feel it in my pocket. And even with a case on it, it's about as thick as the iPhone 16 Pro Max, while also being way lighter to hold. So I almost don't feel this phone in my pocket, even though it's super large by comparison to some smaller, lighter phones. So yes, the S25 Edge, as lightness has definitely made me think about that. But it's just not a fun phone to use in my pockets. That's been why I switched over to the iPhone 16 Pro as well. And number 4 is the Galaxy S25 Edge. I've been loving this phone. I talked about it on my second channel, even though it's not for everyone because of the weaker battery. I think Samsung's onto something here. With the next version, probably going to get a much better battery life if they bring it back. It's not selling the best compared to the Ultra, but it is a risky gamble here, putting out something brand new. They still retain a large panel, so you get that large phone goodness, but you don't have that heavy weight. I do have to keep an eye on my battery a little bit more, well, actually a lot more than the Max, but still, I'm not on my phone so much throughout the day that I'm worried about the battery on the S25 Edge. But if you're a heavy power user, this phone's not for you. And that's why I don't understand why people get so upset about the S25 Edge is, oh, it does battery life, the battery life, the battery life, the battery life. Well, guess what? If you don't want to use this, you don't have to buy this. They have the Ultra for you. It's kind of like if you go and you buy a car. You're not going to buy a car that doesn't fit your style or your size. Then it's not for you. You just move on to the next vehicle and you go get that one. Or the same with watches, or the same with clothing. Any market you want to think about. You're going to go skip past the thing you don't like and go on to the next thing. So that doesn't mean that nobody's going to like you. Like, for example, if you don't like a 2-door car because it doesn't work for your family, doesn't mean somebody else out there doesn't. Doesn't mean somebody else don't like to roll through the gears on an old school manual transmission. Do you get my analogy? This is there are people out there. There is a market for people who want a thin, light, blazing fast phone and are okay with doing some more charging and managing their screen time a little bit more. So the S25 Edge coming in number 4. Number 5 has been the slower performance. I'm not going to kid with you. The beta, of course, has been pretty choppy and buggy. That's expected. No foul play. This has been a really buggy experience, but you expect that. It is a beta. I know it's going to improve very quickly, probably by public beta, so I'm not concerned about it already. I do love the liquid glass experience though, and I do like the overall change to the clear icons. I'm going to be able to match up all of these things across the platforms. Pretty cool stuff, I would say overall. Some people are not a fan of it, but I definitely do like the changes because they're bigger than before. However, what I will state is that this phone has had slower performance than any of the S25 models, including the Edge, the S25 Ultra, the S25 Plus. The iPhone 16 series in general just has slower animations. It has had more apps that have crashed in my experience throughout my year. Well, it hasn't been the full year, but throughout the time using it since launch. It just hasn't been the fastest experience that I'm used to from iPhone. It doesn't feel like the fastest phone anymore. It feels like one of the smoother, more refined, polished phones, but it doesn't feel like the fastest. But it's definitely something I've thought about. But the 16 Pro gives me essentially the same thing, so I still feel that sometimes on this one. But if I'm going to use the Max, I want it to be max everything. But kind of hasn't been giving me max everything like I used to feel with the device. Now, at number 6, as I've been having these weird multiple times on this phone only, I don't know if it's my unit because this one doesn't do it too much, but I'll just get this black screen when hitting the camera control button sometimes. It's not doing it right now, of course. Never can show it on camera because that's not how bugs work. They happen when you don't want them to happen. When you least expect them, bam, that's when they happen. But a weird black screen when taking photos has been pretty annoying on this phone. It's been happening a lot of times when I hit the camera control. I did see them do an update for the bugs on that, but it still has been occurring a little bit more frequently than I'd like. So that's one of them. Another one is the iPhone 16 Pro Max doesn't charge very fast. So if I'm going to use a super large phone, I've actually been enjoying the Android counterparts on the Max level phones because they charge extremely fast. And the 16 Pro charges faster as well, just because it's a smaller battery. So I don't really like how long it takes to charge this product. So I really want to see some faster charging in the future, or a much longer lasting battery, so I don't really have to think about charging whatsoever. Although I don't think about it too much on this one. It still needs to be charged. It's a smartphone at the end of the day. At number 8 is the weaker AI experience. So it's getting better here with 26, but Siri is still in beta. The Apple Intelligence is still in beta, and the rewrite tools are okay, and Playground has been massively improved for iOS 26, but the general overall usability is just much better. On the Samsung device, we have the Gemini, and this is not a Samsung comparison, it's just that's the other phone I'm using right now, so it's kind of like where my brain is comparing from. Also, the Pixel experience is very good with AI, and this one's not horrible. Like it works, some of the things work, the rewrite tools work fine, the ChatGPT integration works okay sometimes. You take a screenshot of whatever's on screen and you can go ahead and ask about on screen on iOS 26. So it is getting better, but even Apple themselves were talking about on a recent interview how they just want it to be much more private than the competition and to work in a much smarter way than you've ever seen before. So it's taking a little bit of time because they want to perfect it. They don't want to release it not ready. So that's what we've been hearing. But at the same time, the AI experience hasn't been super amazing. And it makes me not feel like this is the main device I always want to use all the time. But I'm okay with it on the 16 Pro because I just use it as a single tasking beast phone in my pocket. But with this one, again, I want everything max. This is the top of the line. This is the max. And I don't want to leave any feature not using it. Like I want every feature to be like top level here. Just how I feel when I'm paying top dollar for this particular Max phone. The verdict, though, is the smaller Pro has just made more sense, I think, this year. It doesn't really sacrifice in camera. It doesn't really need a split screen at its size. It feels more natural. It's a very good sweet spot. And overall, it has great battery life. And I don't really get irritated about some of the features because it's not being sold as a Max, as the best of the best. It's being sold as the regular Pro, and it kind of feels that way. But definitely the Android competitors this year have really, I think, put some pressure on the iPhone, and I want to see it get a bit better. Although still a fantastic piece of hardware, it doesn't really pick up any fingerprints, super durable. I get these tiny nicks when I dropped it on cement. Also, the camera control button is neat to use. iOS 26 is a future looking software, definitely kind of reminding us of Windows Vista, but definitely a step in the right direction, at least giving us something different. Even if it's not substantially different, it's still something different. But at the end of the day, I have stopped using it as my main top level device, and I switched to the Pro. And I just wanted to talk to you about those reasons because I feel like I'm always giving this phone its flowers. So this was the video for those of you who are saying stop giving it all this praise like it's the best thing ever. You finally got to see some of the cons of this phone throughout this video. So let me know if you agree or disagree. And I still will be covering this, obviously, and I might switch back to it if iOS 26 becomes stable. I have used this phone as the iOS 26 beta run tester, so we're going to be continuing to cover the betas on this one. So definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Do you love the Max? Do you think I'm totally off base? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to hear what you got to say down below. Let's discuss. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Be sure to be well, and peace.